Entertainment in the modern world comes in many different flavors. Each one can be crafted to order with very few limitations. Those limitations have changed over time in this country and in other countries around the world. Today we're going to look at some unintended consequences of the limited entertainment enterprises that we have right now when it's paired with the tanking ratings or the non-existent sporting events, the stock market, and various other forms of wagering. I present today another effect of politics and entertainment, DraftKings.
Ladies and gentlemen, hiss and foes, welcome to the Culture Casino.
The pop culture landscape is made up of various forms of different media. Much of the iconography that we identify with as fans are simply logos that signify something that we love, we hold dear, we're fond of, those types of things. From comic books to sports, we identify with a hero or a team. The colors of those things don't matter, but they become the team colors or our colors. In the United States, for instance, we have team colors, as does the rest of the world, but that's not the video that I'm going to make here today. Just like any fan base anywhere around the world, we have teams that we are close to. We hold them close to our hearts, and those hearts can be damaged and or broken. Right now, the fandoms of all kinds are struggling to survive round after round of unwarranted abuse, and many are just electing to walk away. This doesn't just hurt the fans themselves, it hurts everything that exists to cater to those fans. But that's also not the video that I'm here to do today. Product apparel lines go unsold. Bars and restaurants have less patronage. Books and publications sell fewer copies or have decreased circulation. Not that print media was doing very well anyway. But all of these events have financial ramifications. Many of them are tied to various financial markets. Now, those markets will eventually turn, and so actually that's not even the video I'm going to do here today either. In sports ball, the financial transactions on any given day are far greater than actually anyone can imagine, far from my imagination. This isn't because of any action, of course, that is taken by the sports entity itself. It's because of the results of those games. Now, DraftKings and FanDuel have entered the marketplace at what seemed like the perfect time, back in 2012. Utilizing a fantasy sports mechanism and a change in federal regulation, they built platforms to take advantage of a market that formerly was, shall we say, a bit shady or confined to a group of friends at their favorite sports pub. The size of the fantasy sports market is enormous, huge, almost indefinable because there are, again, lots of shady corners that we don't really get a lot of insight into. It was estimated in 2017 that the size of the illicit market had a value of about $11 billion. Now, $11 billion value may not seem that much to a multinational, but that's not the amount of actual financial transactions that were conducted in a given year, but we'll get into that in a moment. $11 billion, though, to me and to many others is a ton of money. That's a pretty decent sized market cap. And you're moving that money around between groups of people, some friends, and again, some shady entities. And that, of course, has only grown year over year. 2017 was not nearly close to what we're at now. As the legal expansion spreads across the United States for fantasy sports, it is estimated that the industry on the legal side could grow to about $8 billion by 2025. I think that's a conservative estimate. I think it's probably going to be closer to, or let me change that. Probably could have been closer to, 18 billion. But as this is just a market value, like I said before, and not the actual transaction value, let me give you an idea about this. The industry will move roughly $300 billion in the market in a year. As it will be legalized, those transactions you see, those legal transactions, will of course have the opportunity for the states to collect tax revenue. Seems pretty incentivized for a huge tax windfall. Now, companies like DraftKings, who we are focusing on today, become more than just a facilitator for all of this money-grubbing goodness. The fly in the ointment right now, of course, is that this only works if we maintain sports the way that they are. And from 2012 through most of 2019, things did nothing but get better. We need the teams, we need the fans, and we need those games. Well, we went without all of those for a very long time. And now that we've gotten them back, they weren't anywhere near where we had left them. No longer were we treated to the spectacle and splendor of our country's two favorite sports here in the United States. Politics and apathy were introduced instead. You don't have to take my word for it. Last night's closeout game of an NBA Finals should inform your opinion. If not, let me tell you, that game averaged a 5.5 to a 5.8 million viewers and only about a 2.2 in the demo. And that's, of course, from the Fast Nationals, which aren't complete, but are a pretty good indication of where things were. And it wasn't good. In fact, it was very not good. Very not good indeed. With fewer people watching, there are fewer people playing fantasy. With fewer games being played, there are fewer games to play fantasy on. With the concern over the consistent rosters due to whatever fear exists over the global crisis illness, there are even less folks participating than normal. That leads to an investor concern, at least in my opinion, it does and should, in a company like DraftKings that relies on all of these factors. And here's why. DraftKings entered the marketplace losing money. It's entered its IPO losing money, and that's okay too. It was losing a little bit of money, but still losing money. Maybe losing less money? That's probably a better way to say that. After the IPO, they proceeded to lose money at an accelerated rate. That's not good. In fact, they lost revenue at an unexpected rate. That's even worse. They also came in with an EPS, earnings per share, loss of 55 cents rather than 20 cents. That's a 35-cent kick. And this extra kick of earnings per share loss can be blamed on the current global crisis. At least you would expect so. They have a large capital reserve, thanks to the IPO that we were talking about, and they have zero debt. So why would I be concerned? Well, they can go forward, I guess, for a long period of time, at least with a limited participation of sports leagues, etc. But how does that affect the fantasy market in the future? I think we have to look at that, and we should look at it skeptically. Football is king here in the United States when it comes to daily fantasy, yet football remains consistently down in viewership by 15 to 20%, sometimes far more. At least on the average, 15 to 20% is manageable. But some fans are still remarking about the fact that the league is putting criminal names on the back of the players. Some of the players have mentioned that they're concerned with that as well. And with no fans or limited fans in the stands, the excitement for the games just isn't there. It feels really, really weird, and that also seems to be turning some people off. Now, because of this, some sports-related venues, like bars and restaurants, which we talked about earlier, are not seeing their regular crowds. So it's bringing down their revenues as well. Fewer crowds, less excitement, less people invested or involved in those games. I know it seems weird for fans, but when it comes specifically to sports ball, fan participation is kind of important. Needless to say, daily fantasy relies on sports remaining engaging and entertaining for their fans. And that doesn't happen when the whole industry is actually working, I think actively working, to alienate its fans. Now, as baseball is now currently in its playoff cycle, and has somehow limited most of its political grandstanding and the other malarkey that's been going on in other sports. Maybe this will help with the projections for DraftKings and keep them high going forward into the second half of the football season, where things seem to pick up. For those of us focused on pop culture, watching the creeping destruction wind its way into another fan-driven form of entertainment is quite troubling. We've voiced our concerns because we voiced them when it was happening to us as well. And we've come to realize that when things come for the primary, it's usually not the only part of the industry that's affected. It's everything attached to it as well. And in the case of sports ball, that might end up being forms of daily fantasy, like DraftKings. I guess maybe we'll just need to wait and see. I would like to have more positive hope, or any hope, but hope's not a plan, as Gary likes to say. And sports needs a better plan. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me here today. I really appreciate it. This video probably didn't touch the hearts of all of those out there, but I'm glad you stuck with it anyway. Be sure to check out all the other wonderful independent creators here on the platform, as they don't get nearly enough promotion. Always go out of my way to point somebody out, and today I will point out my friend Paulie over at Latino Slant. Now, I've done that before for him, but he just reached a milestone recently, and I would like everybody to, go over there, help him celebrate, check out some videos, maybe subscribe. That would be wonderful. Until the next time, though, I would like you to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, and as I said, until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.